Hi guys, my name is Tiffany and welcome back to another video. So in this one I thought I would answer the question for you guys on how to get a NICU job without NICU experience.
Cause anywhere with you feels right. Anywhere with you feels like Paris in the rain. Paris in the rain. When I'm with you, when I'm with you, Paris in the rain. Paris in the rain.
So I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys on ways to get a NICU job without NICU experience. And for those out there who are unable to get their senior focus or senior practicum in the NICU, which is the last semester of nursing school, or for those out there who are coming from different units, working with adults or things like that, and are wanting to switch into NICU, here are some ways to gain the experience that is necessary. So one recommendation I have for you is, of course, doing your senior practicum in the NICU or senior preceptorship in the NICU if you have the chance. But if you are unable to, then I highly recommend doing a unit that is pretty close and similar to it. So for example, working in the pediatric ICU or the pediatric cardiac ICU is pretty similar to NICU just because it is still an ICU unit, and the patient populations that you may come across is very closely related to working with babies and working in the pediatric realm. So I definitely would stick to working in a pediatric realm if possible, just because doing adults is just so different and the patient population is so different working with adults that I highly recommend just sticking to pediatrics as much as possible. Another recommendation and tip I have for you is to do a lot of volunteer experience working with children. So one thing that I did in nursing school as well as in high school is that I worked with children, especially volunteering in children's departments, children units. So for example, I did have the opportunity to volunteer in the NICU as a baby cuddler, and I also did volunteer service as well, working in my local library in the children's department. I did work in the after school center at my middle school where I did tutor children as well. So opportunities for you may include babysitting, or you may work in a daycare center, anything that just involves working with kids. And that way the person that is interviewing you knows that you know how to handle working with that kind of patient population, just because working with children, especially working with babies, is a different experience. So just having any sort of volunteer experience or work experience with that kind of population is very important. Another thing also as well that goes along with that too, and gaining work experience, is that there are a lot of people out there who end up getting their CNA license, and that really gives you a lot of patient care experience. If you're able to, then try to get into the NICU as much as possible, or just working in any sister related unit close to the NICU. So like I said, working in any pediatric ICU, cardiac ICUs, things like that, and trying to find your way into getting connections with the manager. So there is opportunities for you to do that if you're interested in wanting more direct patient hands-on care. Getting your CNA license is something you may want to consider. Another thing that I highly recommend doing is getting the necessary certifications. So one of them being NRP, which stands for Neonatal Resuscitation Program. It is usually a requirement. It's not something that you need when you are doing your application process, but it is something that you will have to have as a NICU nurse. So I just recommend doing it anyway, especially when you're doing your job hunting. It's going to help you stand out a lot, and it's something you're going to need in the future anyway, so might as well get it. A lot of times people will hire you and they'll give you about 6 months to get your NRP, but if you want to stand out in your application, then I highly recommend getting it early anyway, and it's something you're going to need in the future, so that's something that I do recommend. If you want to stand out a little bit more, then I highly recommend doing a stable course, and it's something that is just you can do that is above and beyond. You do not need it to become a NICU nurse, and it's not something that is a requirement. But it's something, if you want to stand out, that's something I recommend as well. So another thing I recommend as well that you can do to stand out above and beyond is getting a lactation certification, or just taking a lactation course, because there's times in NICU where we're dealing with breastfeeding and learning how to feed babies and working with the moms, that having that experience is also very, very helpful as well. If you do have the opportunity to be able to take a course like that, I think it'll definitely help you stand out in your application process, and having that experience is also just something you're going to need as a NICU nurse in the future. So I did not take a course like that. It was a bit of a learning curve for me, and it is something that I learned while I was working, but it's something that I do recommend for those out there who are looking for more certifications to get or a class to take that I do recommend getting that as well. And lastly, really what they want to see is how passionate you are and why you want to work on this unit. So really when you do your interviews, really show that passion and what brings you into the NICU. Tell them about your experiences and why NICU is something that you want to do. What you can contribute to the hospital as well is super important, because every hospital wants to see that you are going to be actively involved. So bring up ways that you want to be involved on your unit as well. So it's so important to make sure that you mention those things and really explain to them why the NICU. Really think deeply on why the NICU is an important place for you and what you want to do on the unit. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. And for those out there who are planning on switching to NICU from different adult units as well, really they're trying to just see how you are as a nurse. People have a misconception that getting into NICU is difficult when you come from adult unit or any other unit, and I want to tell you that it is possible. It may be challenging, but there are people out there who have worked in med-surg and adult units, acute care units, that have switched into the NICU, and really what they're looking for is just how well you are as a nurse, how you interact with people, how you're able to work and connect and collaborate with other people. And that's really what they want to see. They want to just see how you are as a person. So really not having that NICU experience, all they can really look for is just how you are as a person. So really your personality is what's going to stand out, and how you were able to contribute on your unit as well. So really make sure to enhance that. Talk about your experiences that you've done on your unit and ways you were involved and ways you were contributing on your unit as well. So those are really things that they're going to be looking for. Hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. Let me know down in the comments below on other videos you'd like me to do, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.
'Cause anywhere with you feels right.